Hello, Mr. Jason Fort, VP of Asset Living.
Good
How
afternoon.
Are you doing today?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for
That's
asking. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us. I'm sure at this time of year you must be busy with students moving in, school starting. Please tell us a little bit about the company, the history, what you guys do, and about yourself.
So I'll start with me. I've been with Asset for 20 years. This is year 20 for me. I started out on site at one of our properties, and at that point we only had 4 properties. We were a new company starting out in student housing, and now today we sit over 200 properties, 125,000 beds throughout the country. It's 42 states from coast to coast, and we service almost every university out there. So our company's been around for 37 years. We have a multifamily arm, we have a student arm, we have an affordable arm, and we have a build-to-rent arm. So really when it comes to living, we're all over the place. We have 285,000 units throughout the country. That puts us number 2 size-wise. Student housing-wise, for the last 13 years, we've been number 1 in the industry. And like I said earlier, we have 125,000 beds. So it's been a fun ride. Asset, I spent 17 of the years on our operations team. So I was actually running properties and doing training and operations and new development. The last 3 years, I switched over to our business development team, and I lead that for Asset Living. And thank God for student housing, because I don't know what I would do with myself if we didn't have student housing. So
amazing. Thank you for that, because we would like to know, what is the student housing industry looking like right now? How kind of resilient is it?
So let's go back to COVID. Everybody likes to talk about COVID, right? And that's when student housing really went through its first test, right? Yes. The world stopped and everybody thought, oh my God, universities are going to go out of business. Everyone's going home. And for about a month, we had a rocky time. A lot of the students went home, everything's closed down, and we're like, the rent payments were coming up the first month. We're like, oh gosh, what's going to happen? And was it a little down? Sure. We were about 5%, 7% down from where we were year over year. But as the months went on, I think we can all go. If we have to go back to live with our parents when we're 18 to 22 and we're already by ourselves, a month is about the limit before we're ready to go back home, right? Kind of like
Absolutely.
Christmas break or whatever. So students started to come back. And that summer of COVID, we were almost back to normal, and then school started again, and especially in the southern states, it was kind of back to normal, and we saw occupancy and everything go well. And since COVID, student housing has seen record growth. It's been absolutely amazing. The rental rates have gone through the roof. Just this year in particular, they're up 8%. Last year it was 11%. The year before that, it was even more. So you're gonna ask, why the rental growth? Well, the multifamily market was so strong for so long, and the multifamily market in the last 3 years has really struggled. Well, the student housing market is now catching up with the multifamily, and the multifamily rents were so much higher than students, so student housing had nowhere to go but up. And every year, even when multifamily, like our company has a huge multifamily platform, and they're doing fine, but they're not growing. Like when I walk down the hallways, they're like, oh great, there's the student housing guy. Your rents are going up, your occupancies are going up, and everything's great in your world. Multifamily, we're fighting tooth and nail. So you use the term resilient. I'll go out and I think student housing is recession proof. I think it's very resilient. People are always gonna go back to school. Even when we're in a recession, more people go back to school, which only helps. I mean, universities aren't going anywhere. So they're always going to need a place to live. So when you think student housing, investment-wise, there's no better place that I would rather put my money.
You talked a little bit about occupancy rates, rental rates. What have the pre-lease rates been looking like the past 5 years, and kind of how do you expect it to change?
The last 3 years, pre-leasing has been out of control, like ahead of where it is. This year, it's about even. Our company is about 2.5 points ahead of where we were last year. So our growth hasn't stopped. We're ahead of pace. We're seeing, it used to be Power 5, now it's kind of Power 4 conferences. We're seeing those go through the roof, enrollment wise. So when you see that, there's not as much new housing being built because construction prices are so out of whack right now. land is hard to find. So the existing student deals that are there are really seeing enormous rental growth because of the enrollment growth and because of the supply and the demand that's really in our favor.
Okay, and what is your guys' typical pre-lease rate? What are the numbers you're seeing?
That's a tough question to answer because it all really is market dependent. Like if what we're doing in College Station, Texas, or Miami, Florida, or Tallahassee, or Auburn, Alabama, can be very different. And I could, like, Auburn, Alabama, there's a bunch of leasing that happens early in the year and then it trickles into the spring. And like right now, the market's totally full. There's other markets like in urban cities that leasing goes all the way until move-in. So a tough question to answer, but pre-leasing wise, like I said a minute ago, we're about 2.5 points ahead of where we were last year. So the pre-leasing is knocking it out of the park. Our operations team are doing a great job, but it really, again, market specific. You know, y'all went to Gainesville and took a look there. That market goes all the way until Labor Day. People are leasing until, you know, a week or two after school starts. So really market dependent, and really a lot of it goes to, okay, what are my enrollment numbers? How many on-campus beds are there? How many off-campus beds are there? And that really dictates what you're seeing from a velocity standpoint, pre-leasing wise. But pre-leasing starts in September in a lot of these markets. September for the next August move-in. So you're seeing a bunch of stuff that happens in the fall. Like a lot of students moved in this week, next week, the week after that, and a month later we're already doing renewals and we're already doing new lease rates. So a lot of times, first-time parents, the college students, they're like, why in the hell am I leasing 11 months out? But if you don't, your housing options are going to go way down. So you really have to react pretty quickly.
In what market or what state, I guess, have you seen so far the most success?
Florida, it's been amazing. Texas has been really good. If you kind of look at the Sun Belt area, you go from Texas all the way to Florida, all those markets are really good. You go out to Arizona, those markets are really good. But to answer your question, if I had to pick one state, Florida is where we're seeing the most growth.
Sunshine State, baby.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Not a bad place to live and go to college, right?
It's not at all.
Yeah.
Okay, and then how do you see these trends kind of changing over the next 5 years?
In my 30 years of student housing, I've never seen rent growth that's happening the last 3 years. Never. There's no way it's going to continue at 8, 10, 12%. But if you're seeing 4 or 5%, there's no reason to think that won't continue. Again, the new supply it's not coming like it was 4 or 5 years ago. So people are really having to find a place to live. The rental rate growth is there. People are going into existing deals, they're doing upgrades, they're doing CapEx stuff, they're adding all kind of awesome amenities and awesome stuff in the units. I don't see any reason that the rent growth will stop. Some markets, like if you look at the tier 2 or tier 3 markets, they're not flourishing like the bigger universities are, but in the bigger universities, there's not a lot of stop to this.
So just talking about leasing, what is the process when to lease up an in-construction community, and about how long does that take?
A new development, student housing wise, is a very unique structure. You have to start 14 to 16 months before delivery. And you got to start working on branding and naming and websites and renderings. And, you know, the students today need to see your brand a lot before they actually make a decision. Well, what does a lot mean? You got to get it on Instagram, you got to get it on TikTok, you got to get it on all your social media channels, your website. Then you got to go out and you got to give them koozies and flyers and everything like that, so they truly know what your brand is. Like, they're probably going to see it the first 10 or 15 times and go, I don't know what this is. But the more and more that they register with the brand and the lifestyle, then they start going in and go, oh, this is a place that I want to live. So you'll start signing leases 12 to 13 months before opening. And a lot of times people want to live at the new place. You're building a lifestyle, you're painting a dream. So you're selling those a lot in the fall before the next year opening. So it starts early. If you don't start early, those are the developments that we've had a lot of, obstacles and a lot of trouble with. If you're starting 14 months ahead of time, you got an office and you got a staff and you got your renderings. Success usually is going to happen if you have the right game plan.
Yeah, agreed. Even when we were checking out Sweetwater and stuff, all of these booked, sold out already, and it hasn't even.
You're creating urgency, right?
Exactly.
Like y'all weren't even looking for an apartment, but you see on the wall sold out. You're like, oh my gosh, I got to get there. I got to get a place to live, or I'm not going to have it. In new development leasing, urgency is key.
Absolutely.
Like you don't want them to walk out of the door. Technology today is so awesome that you can see your 3D renderings and your virtual flyovers, and you can basically see the whole community. You can pick the unit you want to live in. Do I want to live by the pool or by the gym or on the highest floor in the penthouse or whatever? So you really create that buzz and that urgency to get a student to commit and kind of go from there.
So how confident are you to open up a brand new community that has zero vacancy, AKA full occupancy?
Extremely confident. So we started our new development division about 10 years ago. And in that time, we've done over 200 ground up new developments. Now our company doesn't own anything. We're strictly third party. So all those were for third party developers and clients. And our rate of success is super high. Last year, 98% occupancy on all our new construction projects, and through those 200, there have been very few that have not gone well. Usually the ones that don't go well are the ones that start late. The ones that start early, we get the buzz going, So to answer your question, overly confident that we would be successful. I mean, these kids like to live in new places. And if you get the brand right and the amenities and the floor plan, and you start early, there's no reason you shouldn't be successful.
Okay, is this an industry where few players own a large share of the market?
There's so many people that want to be involved in student housing that there's a lot of different players. There's your owner operators, there's your third party, there's ones that do both. Student housing is an avenue right now that people want to invest in. So we're seeing a bunch of different capital come in from all different sources. International, US money. We're seeing it from people that were in office space and now they're in student housing, or they're in multifamily and now they're in student housing. So we're seeing investment money coming in all droves. I spend a large part of my day educating investors that don't know much about student housing and walk them through, because it's a totally different vibe investing in student housing, because everything's by the bed and not by the unit, but your returns are pretty good.
So is it true, in your opinion, that student housing community is considered one of the best cash flow steady real estate assets?
If you compare student to multifamily, a student deal that's really cooking and really doing well, I mean, the investment strategy and returns on it are second to none. Really good.
So what opportunities do you see for the student housing market in the future?
I think they're unlimited, because even the markets that are oversupplied right now, enrollment growth will cause a need for more housing. There's a bunch of markets right now that are so undersupplied that need housing. If you look in the news, especially this month and next month, all talking about students not being able to find a place to live and having to commute 30 and 45 minutes. So there's so many markets out there. Like I try monthly, I have a top 50 that I keep up with markets, the really investment markets that I send out to our clients of, hey, these are the markets that are undersupplied, that need housing, that you should be in. And that's not going anywhere. I mean, it just keeps growing. And when enrollment goes this way and nobody's building, there's going to be a need. Student housing, like I said, is a good investment tool right now. And as long as enrollment keeps going up, there's some good markets to really find out there.
Sounds like the sky is the limit.
The sky is the limit.
Love
you
it.
put it really well.
You're managing some of the best and most recently built properties in Gainesville, like Sweetwater, Euphoria, Stadium, and Griffin. Only those 4 represent over 2,100 beds. Can you share your experience? Did they open with zero vacancy?
I have a lot of experience in Gainesville. I've been in Gainesville for about 15 years. And through our time, we've done, I think, 12 new development lease-ups in there. So we've done a bunch. And the properties that delivered on time had very little vacancy. There was a need for housing. There was a need to be there. There's a need to deliver on time, and they were all very successful. I think the one thing you have to caution when new construction, the delivery schedule is very little. Like, you have to deliver before the school year starts, and as long as you do that, again, if you start early, you start leasing in the fall, you go there, construction's done early, they're able to see clubhouse and units and stuff like that. If you're executing our plan, failure's not an option. And in Gainesville, we've been highly successful through the years and delivered some pretty awesome buildings that we've really enjoyed.
What about the rental rates? Because we understand that they're around $1,300 per bedroom.
Depending where you're located in Gainesville, they kind of go up or down from there, but $1,300 is a good number, a good average that you're looking at. Gainesville, the last couple of years, has had a lot of new developments come in, which has stunted the growth a little. There's not as much new development coming. Again, enrollment's going this way. There's not as many supply coming now. So I really see Gainesville as a growth market, that rental rates will go through the roof because enrollment's going up and there's no new construction.
So I know she already asked you this, but more about Gainesville. In regards to pre-lease and vacancy rent, has it changed?
The last couple of years has been pretty steady, but every year the Gainesville gets into the 90s, it's doing real well. You're still seeing rental growth. And like I said, going forward, there's not all those new construction projects coming in. So the ones that are coming should do really well. And really, the rest of the market will see growth too, because there's not that 3, 4, 5 properties coming at the same time.
And in regards to student housing, do you see any major differences between Gainesville and every other state?
It really just depends on the location in the college town to kind of differentiate. Every college town's a little different. Like Gainesville and Tallahassee are right down the road from each other, but they're entirely different markets. Like in Gainesville, you see a lot more mid-rise buildings there that are closer to the university. As you get further away, you see the bigger units and the bigger complexes. But it really all just depends on the town and really the location of the facility.
And based on your experience managing Gainesville properties, do you think that Archer can be rented at around $1,300?
I don't see all the projections that I've run bring me to that. I don't see any reason that we wouldn't get that. And again, you look down the road, it might be even more. It's hard. We're looking at rates that are produced today for a move-in that's going to happen later. The rates could certainly go up, but I don't see them going down.
Lastly, what's asset living key to success, and how do you stand apart from the others?
It's an easy answer for me. It's really our people and our structure. Having a new development division with people that just do new development and that's what they're good at. Then we transition to our operational team, and those people are amazing at what they do. So a lot of people out there try to talk about how good they are, but like when you look at the last 20 years and the history of our success, it's all due to the people and the people executing the plan. That really is the difference maker.
Gracias por ver el video. Si tienes alguna pregunta, no te olvides de dejar un comentario y por favor síguenos.